Jason Patterson here. As always, a joy to have you with us on Friday Night Rivals. And this lives up to the name, a rivalry matchup in Henderson County, Tom. Always so much on the line when these teams get together. The high-flying Falcons of West and the Bearcats of Hendersonville.
Yeah, when you're 5 miles apart and you know everybody you grow up playing, you really want to play these type of games coming up on a Friday night. And two teams that are coming off outstanding seasons a year ago that got into the playoffs. And West Henderson able to win one last year, 34-20. You know Hendersonville might come back tonight and win one.
Coach Whitaker's squad, this Falcons team coming off a memorable year, unbeaten through the regular campaign, through the conference. It's about winning the county, winning the conference, and then thinking even larger than that when you're here in Henderson County.
It is. They got to the third round last year, and the momentum that they take into this one with the people that are coming back for them, the players, they've got 15 starters, so they're looking forward to exciting things and big things and accomplishments this year.
Teachfield always a special place here at Hendersonville, the home of the Bearcats. Great deal of emotion tonight as we reflect back on some things that we'll talk about as the broadcast goes along, but in the end gets down to football. What do you see it coming down to?
Well, Hendersonville's got some young guys, and as Coach earlier talked a little bit about the fact they've got to put the pressure on the freshman quarterback and then just take care of business if you're West Henderson.
Well, let's see who can do that. It's going to be the Falcons, the Bearcats, a Henderson County rivalry coming up on Friday Night Rivals. Henderson County rivalry action and Apple Festival bragging rights are on the line as the high-flying Falcons of West get set to take on the Bearcats. We welcome you into downtown Hendersonville, Deatsfield. You know the familiar location. You certainly know what it means when these two teams get together. Happy to have you with us tonight as we work our way into Friday Night Rivals alongside my broadcast partner, Tom Van Hoy. Jason Patterson here, and just about time to get the job done, Tom. As the captains meet at midfield for the coin toss, go ahead and walk us through your keys to the game.
Well, for West Henderson, they want to make the quarterback uncomfortable. Hendersonville has a freshman quarterback, the son of Coach Ward, and they want to keep it close. Coach told us hopefully into the fourth quarter play to be able to maybe have an opportunity to win the ball game. They're playing well right now. Hendersonville, they need more offensive consistency. Talk about a young guy, but they've got some skilled guys, want to get them involved, and then they want to avoid the big play. Don't let West Henderson get the big play on them tonight and maybe get out to it quickly.
Those presented by Spartanburg Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Those are your keys to the game. You saw the captains at the middle of the field, and Tom, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but tonight a night in which we also honor Elijah Gibbs. It's something we'll show you some images and walk through it, but you saw the captains a moment ago and his family members, honorary captains in this one tonight, all connected to that young man, and he will be remembered by the way Hendersonville plays and the passion with which they play on this night. And there you see again. We will stay with us a little later on toward the end of the first period. We will have a tribute to Elijah Gibbs, show you some of the activities that took place pregame. But the number 10 will be featured prominently throughout the year. They've got a decal they'll be wearing on the helmet. They meet at the 10-yard line now in pregame, this Hendersonville team, and certainly his presence very much felt on a night like this. Here come the Falcons of West Henderson. They are coming off a year in which they picked up 12 victories. Went through the regular season unscathed, Tom, perfect in the conference, and tonight they try to win the county for a second straight year.
3 and 8 the year before. We asked Coach what was the difference to play a quarterback for sure with Lucas Cachillo and what he was able to do, and that'll be a storyline tonight to watch the quarterback play for West Henderson. But also their defense really matured, had given up 300 yards rushing the year before, 100 last year, so they've got momentum going.
And they say no fly zone here at Hendersonville. The Bearcats pretty clear about what their expectations are tonight.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Hendersonville, and you go back and Coach Ward having taken over Jim Sosby. Sosby had the great success at Greenville High School over in the South Carolina, and just a high-powered offense. And you guys had a great ball game last week to start things off on my 40. The rivalry with last week's ball game with Crest, where Sosby is, and also with Gaffney.
You know what it means means in Henderson County to wear those colors. You know what it means to participate in games like this. Here come the Bearcats, to the delight of the faithful here at Deeds Field. And Tom, when you have close proximity, you're talking about just a few miles. When you have close proximity, you got coaches that have been on one side and then another. You got principals that have been in one school system and then another. And you got bragging rights that extend well beyond what happens on this night on the gridiron.
Yeah, I mean, I go back a long way from a broadcasting standpoint. I don't think I've ever seen anything like Henderson County in terms of the four teams and how close they are. And I guess as the crow flies, 4.8 miles between these two teams, and they all know one another, and that's the emotion of the moment, so to speak. You have to handle that particularly early on. But Jason, I think as the sun goes down, I mean, it was super hot, as everybody knows, and there was some conversation. We talked with principal Hendersonville and the athletic director about whether or not they wanted to move it back. They decided to kick it off at 7:30.
A lot nicer now, but that's easy for those of us in the air conditioning.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Here in the press box, we'll see how he feels about it, how his team feels about it, as you look at the second-year head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Ward, who has placed his team out on the field now, and he's opposite, as you well know, the outstanding head coach of the Falcons, Paul Whitaker, who is on the other side. His team going to be set to kick it away. So this young Hendersonville Bearcats squad will touch the football first offensively. The representatives of the Mountain Foothills 7 Conference in the 2A ranks, coming off a 9-3 campaign a year ago, 5-1, and it'll be their spread offense to take the field first, as this is going to be a squib kick picked up at the 30, ran out of bounds at around the 33-yard line by Hendersonville's Curtis Mitchell. And that is where the Bearcats will take over. And yes, we said Coach Ward. Here comes Jerron Ward, the relation what you would expect it to be, as the young freshman quarterback of the Bearcats leads his team out onto the field.
Yeah, great size, 5'10", 195. He's a freshman, and, last week rushed 14 times with -1 yards, but was effective through the air, 10 for 13. He's just getting used to it.
We talked about in the pregame, a family program through and through, and you get that rare and special father-son combination at coach and quarterback in this one, as we look at the young, mobile Jerron Ward take his first snap on this Friday night. And they set up a screen, tried to work it underneath to Rudisil. He's, as they say, the engine that makes this team go on so many levels. Can't work it to him, as there to disrupt was man to make the stop. And here's a look at Hendersonville offensively beyond the quarterback Ward.
Hey, you're talking about Rudisil, 1,000+ there. C.J. Lander, we'll talk about him all night long. Fullback, tight end, defensive end, one of the great players. And you've got Lattimore, one of the wide receiver spots, and 3 returning offensive linemen.
Going to be Ward taking it himself, and Ward is up across the 35 to the 39-yard line. Lost the lid, but they'll gather him up. There is a flag down at the 33 that we'll have to sort out, but we will set for you the defense on the West Henderson Falcons side of things, trying to slow this Bearcats group. They'll be slowed for a moment by this flag. This is going to back Hendersonville up a bit. In fact, it'll work to the right around the 25-yard line or so. We'll see where they set the football down. Actually going to be just inside that at the 24. So second down, country mile coming for Hendersonville.
Yeah, you don't want to get behind the change. And the other part about that the helmet came off, so Ward's not in the ballgame right now.
Gives way to Bale Pace, who comes on to take care of the responsibilities. Talk about family responsibilities. You got that name on the roster regularly. 4 combinations of brothers, including twins, on this Hendersonville roster. So the names you'll hear tonight, you'll hear them regularly.
Yeah, competitive household, right?
On the flip side, West Henderson's defense looks like this.
You look at Waters and Nash at the defensive ends. They love even man. He's coming back from a year ago. And Lyda, who is a quarterback, also going to play that inside linebacker spot. You get into the secondary with Castro and Manuel. Those guys are outstanding players.
And you may hear the play call before it happens. Tom has the coaches right on his hip, who may be coming through his microphone at some point. So if you know what's coming before it does, you may hear the Falcons, some of their calls along the way in this contest, as everybody's intensity on display in the early stages here. Tom, that's one thing about being side by side with some of the Falcons coaches right here, our broadcast location tonight. You can see, even with these early play calls, just how intense this football game is going to be.
That and all the plays are here that look like Egyptian hieroglyphics to me. But
good thing you and I don't have to decipher them, right? Here comes the 4th down, and set to kick it away. Hendersonville with an unfruitful first touch of the football, and it goes just the way the Falcons had wanted, as they do get the Quick turnover, and we're going to get our initial look coming up at the Falcons offense as they'll take over on the 36-yard line. Of course, it's a different quarterback on the Falcons side of things. Even though the senior Jude Lyda does get the nod as the starter, it's not the Lucas Cachillo show as you're used to in recent years. Boy, what a career he put together for the Falcons, and Lyda trying to pick up right where he left off.
Yeah, and we talked about he also plays linebacker. He's a long snapper, special team, so we'll also see Cade Young in there tonight as well.
Went 8 for 9 for 118 yards, a couple of touchdowns in the opener last week as they handled business nicely against Newton Conover. Here is the give, and it's going to be a little trickery on the first play. Had there not been a bit too much air underneath it, it would have been 6. They tried to connect with Diego Castro, but just a little too much under it.
Man.
And that was drawn up beautifully and could have been 6.
Yeah, that was well done. And you put Trude into the backfield, and he had Castro out there. Both those guys have been wide out. You'll see them at different positions as well. But, boy, that let one get away there. We talked about Lyda Dimsdale, 1,000-plus rush. Manuel Castro, we mentioned. They got 3 returning offensive linemen up front as well. So they scored 54 last week, averaged 41 last year.
Well, you see it again. Tuck that play away in the back of your mind. It worked out beautifully, although the element of surprise now gone. And the Falcons keep it on the ground across the 35. Got about a 9-yard requirement coming up on what will be 3rd down. Hendersonville trying to do the same thing defensively we saw from the Falcons of West Henderson just a moment ago, and that's making a quick first possession for their opponent. Need the 46. Rolling out far side, but too tall on this pass from the quarterback this time, Lyda, and it will be. A couple of defensive stops on both sides, effectively playing defense in the early going. 4th down and about 9 coming. The kicking unit does trot its way on for West Henderson. So settling into the ball game here in Hendersonville as the Bearcats have seemingly come up with a stop of their own. They send the return man, Arudasil, back to his own 29-yard line.
Got to be careful here and trip Manuel.
Remember, it was a returned kick.
Yes.
Right out of the gate before the fans settled in good in this contest the other way for the Falcons that set the tone a year ago. It's a pretty good punt that had the potential to set the tone here. That will go into the end zone for a touchback. And we will have the Falcons of West Henderson on offense when you come back, breaking away for the first time from Friday Night Rivals, now underway in Hendersonville. Don't let game night dinner get you stressed. Stop by Ingles for great choices from the Ingles Deli. Rotisserie chicken, fresh made salads, a delicious hot bar, and sub bar. It's dinner and a snap, then off to the game. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. Well, a look at downtown Hendersonville, and now we welcome you back inside this fine facility as we get set for a second drive on the Hendersonville Bearcats side of things. Bearcats under the direction, as you know, second year now of Coach Ward and his staff. 16 here at the high school, 20 total when you count his playing days. And young man hails from his home. He's going to put this up top, and that is intended for maybe one of the first times we'll call his name. Certainly won't be the last. C.J. Landrum, who was the intended target on the far side. Tom, Landrum all over the field. He's a wide receiver. He's a defensive end. He plays on special teams. He caught both touchdown passes in the loss to North last week and also had 4 tackles and an interception. So number 0, he's going to fill up your screen tonight.
6'3", 245, senior, highly recruited young man.
C.J. Landrum, the target there, but both teams with an early chance for a deep shot. The trickery for West, and on this case, the deep look down the far sideline for Hendersonville. You may have heard the coaches that are right by our side screaming it that there was movement, and the officials saw it as well, as this will back the Bearcats up just a bit, as a 5-yard penalty on the motion will make it second down at about 15.
Yeah, so one thing you don't want to have happen, first possession, same thing with the penalty, and you get behind the change. A team that's looking for some offensive consistency, 44 rush, 148 a pass last week, 192 total, and 31-12 loss. It was a tough loss to North Henderson.
But they talked about the growth for the freshman QB. He takes this, going to look to tuck this, and he is covered up. And it is just a beautiful, beautiful job of kind of pinching things up there and shutting it down. And Tom, among others in there to help provide the stop was Tyler Nash from the near side.
He's an all-conference performer from a year ago. Had a couple of quarterback sacks last week. And
2 sacks of the 4 sacks the team had as a unit last week.
Yeah, they at times had some really good success last week as well. And, they were able to avoid the big play as well, but you put 54 points on the board, that'll help it out.
Yeah, this 3-4 defense not looking too bad themselves. Daniel Holbert, who is the defensive coordinator, he's one of those new coaches in his first season. And this is going to be contested, and it will fall incomplete far side. I say first season, that's at the defensive coordinator role for Daniel Holbert. It is his 9th at West Henderson as a part of the staff. And Daniel Holbert and Jason Livingston, Tom, 2 of the players that played for the head coach of the West Henderson Falcons, Paul Whitaker, and now are a part of his staff. You see that through and through on both sides.
And you do. And the other, he told us in our conversation this week, everybody else been on the staff 15 years as well. He himself has been there for 31. This is his 14th year as the head football coach.
They also have Jay Young on that staff for West Henderson, who played there but not for him, and he actually coached at a period of time in middle school, the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Ward. So those are the connections that run thick. This punt, a little tougher than the last one we saw a moment ago, and it's going to give great field position to the Falcons as they will set up shop inside the 30-yard line of the Bearcats. And here is how that field position came to be. Yeah, well, actually, that's a look at the coaches. Here's another glance at it, Tom. You just see disruption in there.
Yeah, and the one thing we talked about as well, you want to avoid the big play if you're Hendersonville. You want field position is huge. This is a team that can score, and you don't want to give them a short field. Good job last time defensively.
Widen company tried to take some type of shot. Remember, on the first play from scrimmage, attempted a little trickery. Speaking of a shot, here it is, looking for the end zone. The intended target was who else but Truett Manuel. It is incomplete. Truett Manuel is in his senior campaign, 22 Conference Player of the Year, 2-time All-State, 3-time All-Conference, and he is the top returning wide receiver in the 3A ranks in the state of North Carolina. Highly decorated.
And I'll tell you what, between C.J. Landrum and Mr. Truett there, they have some outstanding individual talents collectively.
Truett Manuel committed to play baseball at NC State, but they talk about his ability wherever he lands to potentially be a 2-sport athlete. That good, that committed, not only that decorated, but that dedicated. And this is going to be kept on the ground. Carson Dimsdale will carry it forward. And a little further, in fact, on into the red zone. Our initial red zone opportunity on either side tonight coming up for the Falcons of West Henderson as they'll set up shop in that red zone. Now we got a flag that's got to be sorted out, and that's going to take them deeper into the red zone as this is going to go against Hendersonville. So the First Bank red zone opportunity going to be a little deeper into the First Bank red zone. First Bank, 13 locations across North Carolina to serve you. Here was the run, and you'll see the penalty as well, which tacks on.
Yeah, they've taken a couple of shots, had some opportunities downfield, but as they settled in, Dimsdale's a guy that's going to be instrumental in the success, or 1,000 yards rushing last year.
Hendersonville family, Mills River family dental. first down in that red zone. And this is stacked up immediately. Nothing but white jerseys, and a host of them on the scene, including Kylan Maxwell, who was among those there. There will be no running room as Lyda tried to keep it himself. So a chance for the team that made the early impact a year ago. We talked about it came on a special teams play, Tom, a season ago, but it was right out of the gate that West Henderson served notice of their intentions in this rivalry game, trying to do so first again and looking for a diving effort front of the end zone on the post, and it is incomplete, trying to work that to Diego Castro one more time. Boy, two almost touchdowns for Diego Castro. The one that had a little too much air underneath it on the flicker to begin things, the trickery, and then this one on the diving effort as they sort out a flag one more time.
Yeah,
here's another
one more look at it. He's got that inside position and just let him a little bit too much there. Get a nice pass pattern there. Now it's a nice route running, but just missed him. But we'll have to see what the flag is here.
Yeah, the first one thrown not by Lyda, but on the trickery a little too tall. This one on the shoestrings instead, and this personal foul is going to move the Falcons inside the 10-yard line. So credit another Hendersonville Family Mills River Family Dental first down on the occasion. Boy, we talked about just how much C.J. Landrum fills up the screen. There's an evidence of it. Can he put a stop on this Falcon squad? Little toss out near side, and that is incomplete. Just out of the grasp of the intended target as you get another look at that penalty.
Yeah, we talked about that square in pattern, and then you saw the hit there after he let it go.
That was Landrum a little behind the release of Jude Lyda, flagged for it, and on the personal foul, it is going to be just outside the 5-yard line, second down and goal. Jude Lyda, no worse for the wear. You see his toughness on display. Hands this to Dimsdale, and he works forward inside the 5, but stacked up there. And here comes a big-time third and goal, Tom.
Tell you, when the field position is where it was, if Hendersonville could get a stop here, it would be big. And they got good penetration that time, able to stack it up inside on a team that last week ran it for 179. So they were balanced, 192 pass a week ago, 371 total. And coach told us want to be about 50-50. A year ago, they were 70% pass and 30% run, and most of that came late in the ballgame when they had a big lead.
It's going to be handled Lyda. He fires toward the back of the end zone, and there's the elusive touchdown. Diego Castro is able to reel in this time around. There is our initial United Federal Credit Union touchdown of the night. Tried to get it into Diego Castro's hands on a couple of other occasions. This time, pay dirt. Nice toss by Lyda. And it is 6-0 Falcons.
Yeah, nice route as well, and wide open at the back of the end zone. Sometimes that can be one of the toughest throws is all, but a good job, under control, nice release, good catch, touchdown.
Sandoval on to try the extra point. And Sandoval's kick is true. A couple of soccer specialists in the kicking department will duel it out on both sides in this one. And Joshua Sandoval, who is just that for the Falcons, punches it through. 7-0. As West Henderson strikes first. The Earl Scruggs Music Festival is coming to the Tryon International Equestrian Center September 1st through 3rd. This 3-day event features performances by some of the most talented musicians in the bluegrass world. Hosted by Jerry Douglas, the extensive 2023 lineup will welcome a full lineup of talented bluegrass artists like Del McCurry and Emmylou Harris. Visit earlscruggsmusicfest.com or scan the code to purchase tickets today. Well, we welcome you back to Hendersonville. Early lead belonging to the Falcons of West Henderson. An 8-yard touchdown toss just a moment ago from Jude Lyda to connect with Diego Castro. And the Falcons getting set to kick it away now for the second straight year, trying to win this rivalry game for the second straight year, taking the early advantage here in the first quarter.
I'll tell you, the last two times they played here, 35-7, 58-0 Hendersonville, but last year, and if you win, you dance, is what he told us, and there's a little bit of dancing going on last year, 34-20 win.
So Castro with the first of the touchdowns as this goes into the end zone for a touchback. Another of those players getting looks. Castro, who is receiving some attention to play at the next level, already making his mark in this Friday night game. And Hendersonville to take over after the touchback at the 20-yard line. And an answer coming perhaps from Ward, Landrum and company. It's T.J. Lattimore, another of those seniors who's out at the top of your screen. Going to give this off to Rudisill. They talk about Rudisill being so much of the catalyst of the offense, a 3-year starter that is a 2-time all-conference performer for Hendersonville. And yes, Landrum gets so much of the attention. And yes, you're looking at the progression of the young quarterback Ward, but Rudisill has provided so much of that consistency, Tom.
Yeah, he has been a young man, 5'10", 163, junior, and over 1,000 yards last year, 1,170 carries, 49 yards first game, and so caught 5 passes as well. They tried to set that up on the first play of the game to little bubble screen over the middle to him to see what he can do in traffic.
Saw Jude Light on the defensive side of the ball there. Here's the late pitch, and that is on the ground, covered up by Rudisill. Saves the day momentarily, as that could have been disastrous for Hendersonville.
Yeah, able to, pitch it out a little bit. I mean, string it out, and then with the pressure coming, pitched it, and wasn't in the vicinity, so to speak, at the country club hop and able to come up with it. Once again, Jason, with the penalties and getting into 3rd down and long has been difficult very early on.
Way behind the sticks. In fact, getting set to snap it at the 9-yard line and needing to cross the 30 for a first down. They're going to call it 3rd and 21. And that is intended for Landrum again, but it is in and out of his hands and incomplete. He may have had about 7 of what they needed when all was said and done. It's 4th and forever.
Yeah, good job defensively. Just play it underneath and, let him catch it there. I mean, you don't want him to catch it, but if he does, you got a long way to go. And
yeah, look at the 3 blue jerseys of Falcons that were closing. Well, good start for the Falcons, offensively, defensively. And, Tom, it would seem as if West is going to have great field position again.
I mean, already up 7-0 that last drive, which is 26 yards. Maybe have good field position here.
Coming this way, and that is going to sail out of bounds long before it reaches the captain combo of Truett Manuel and Diego Castro, who were back to return it. And it is going to be another West Henderson start of a drive inside the 30-yard line of the Bearcats. Well, you want to stick around at the half. Some of the highlights for Coach Whitaker's squad will be on display, all part of the Asheville Chevy Show. He's hoping that they're going to add to the highlight package you'll see as part of the Asheville Chevy Show coming up at halftime here on Friday Night Rivals. 4:56 remaining in the opening period. And going for the end zone again, Castro one more time at his shoe tops, I should say, once more, and incomplete. Boy, Castro did end up scoring on that last drive after the slant that was not to be. Did not on the first, and here would have been what potentially could have been a third touchdown for him tonight. And that may have been there in the breadbasket. Take another look at this, Tom, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, there's a leaping Landrum there, but a little bit shy and on a hop there. And it's a difficult situation to a certain extent with a couple of freshman cornerbacks out there and taking some shots really early on in the game.
And again, that was Diego Castro one more time, who already had the touchdown pass on the last drive. Second down. And 10 yards to go as timeout is being called for. And you see standing out on that Bearcat logo, the coaching staff letting their thoughts be known from the West Henderson side of things. We haven't talked about it that much, but Paul Whitaker, 14 seasons, 3 decades plus now at West in one way or another. And he's been through so many of these battles, so many of these wars along the way. What a year his team put together a season ago.
You know, a young man, as a young man out of Mars Hill, and 2 years at Pisgah, and then 31. That's remarkable at West Henderson, and what he's been able to accomplish. A couple of years ago was a tough one at 3-8 that we talked about last year, and got into the third round of the playoffs and lost a tough game to East Guilford in the third round. And I mean, they were just outstanding with Lucas Cachillo from a year ago as a Gardner Webb now. And you know, you got Jade Lyda and Cade Young. They're trying to settle in there, but they've got some good offensive pieces this year as well, and try to be a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, you talked about Paul Whitaker. There you see his counterpart on the other side of things, and Coach Ward, who played here at Hendersonville in his second year at the helm of this program, even though he too been here for a long, long time before taking over the coaching ranks. You talked about the Mars Hill days for Coach Whitaker, and of course with Kel Wright there during his time at Pisgah before returning to Henderson County, and now this team the last couple of years making themselves the standard in Henderson County and trying to take a sizable lead as his quarterback, Cade Young, is in there. And Young will toss this out near side. Through traffic is Castro down to the 11-yard line. Well, with Lyda playing so many different places and so many snaps on both sides of the ball, you have to have the sophomore Cade Young come in from time to time just to give him a breather. This is one of those occasions.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting situation, but with Lyda playing both sides of the football and some other things that he does as a long snapper, and then you get the youngster in there. Young, get him some experience, as you saw it again there, and able
now
to
he looks to the end zone after successfully executing the screen pass, and he's going to connect with his receiver on the far side, Truett Manuel on the far side, able to reel that in, and Manuel has his first touchdown of the night. A nice toss from Cade Young. You know, he said, we had to tell Young, you don't always have to throw it, but when he does, it looks great. He's from that Cachillo school, from that background, from that blueprint. And take a look at his United Federal Credit Union touchdown toss. You could not have walked it up there and handed it to Manuel any better than Cade Young delivered it here.
Yeah, that was well done. We have seen a couple off the mark early on in this game, but he got behind Lattimore there, and he dropped it in for the touchdown.
Extra point, just as true as it was the first time around for Joshua Sandoval, the junior kicker, and it is 14-0 West Henderson. So Lyda able to toss a touchdown to Diego Castro, and Cade Young able to deliver this touchdown pass to Truett Manuel, and those who have been the key contributors in the scorebook already tonight for the Falcons.
Yeah, throw it into the back of the end zone, let him go up and get it. That's something he can do. Almost 1,400 yards last year, of course, with Cachillo and getting adjusted now to the dual quarterback situation, but at 27 touchdowns. And you talked about many believe the number one returning wide receiver in North Carolina this year. And he's a great baseball player, too.
You know, the commitment to NC State that we discussed earlier. And Coach Paul Whitaker said, you know, there's been some discussion of can he play? And we kind of referenced that earlier. Can he play both at football and in baseball and be a multi-sport athlete, a dual sport athlete? He said, absolutely. If you know anything about this young man and his work ethic, if it's a right fit, his work ethic will make it possible for him to compete at the top level in both sports. And he said he's still entertaining any ideas that may be there related to his football playing career, even though the baseball part of it was locked up very early. Well, he showed you on the receiving end how he looks is certainly, you know, the zip that's there in the arm from the baseball standpoint.
Well, we've seen it, and you know as well as anybody how difficult it is at the ACC level when you call the Virginia games to play baseball, let alone try to go ahead and do that in football as well.
is coming up the middle across the 25 to the 30, and the 31-yard line is about where this one will come to a halt. That return for Hendersonville hindered by Rudisil. And Ward to lead them back out, now down a couple of scores with 4:15 remaining and the opening period of action.
Well, you need some success, and we talked about with Coach prior to the game about some consistency on the offensive side. You can't continue to get behind the chains. You need to be able to run the ball a little bit. We're unable to do that last week very much. So right now, down 14-0, you need to have something happen positive offensively.
Backs off each hip for protection as Ward rolls this way, and he's just going to throw this. It required a little bit of fancy footwork from one of our officials on the near side to get out of the way as he just spoiled it out of bounds for an incompletion. 2nd down and 10 coming. You know, one of the players you saw a moment ago as West Henderson was setting up shop defensively, Aiden Osman. He, alongside of Mann, among the key players listed with Manuel and Castro in the secondary as the all-conference performers. Those really the 4 players on defense that they highlight, along with Tyler Nash, who we documented early, who's up on that defensive front. Falcons defense, the difference. And they're going to provide a little pressure, and this is thrown to the turf. Here comes the flag for grounding that will follow. And Tom, that's just an instance in which the pressure made it so difficult on Ward that he was trying to do something with it. And let's talk about this Falcon defense for a moment as they get ready to walk off this grounding penalty. That's what Coach Whitaker told us was the difference maker for that season a year ago. He said everybody can talk about the great numbers for Cachillo, and yes, that was a part of it. You can talk about the numbers that we put up offensively. Yes, that was a part of it. He said, but the difference from 2 years ago to a year ago to now is the development of this defense. And you saw what it did to Ward and company right there.
You got to get on the field. You got to play. The maturity that they had, and we mentioned a little bit earlier at the open, as you get one more look at one of the plays earlier in the ball game here, just tremendous pressure there. And
just everything closed up.
Yeah. And nothing was there. But, yeah, just to kind of complete that thought, the ability to stop the run and to play outstanding defense also provided the opportunities. Most of the games last year were not close. There was just one, 23-21 with Smoky Mountain.
When you have that kind of experience in the secondary, boy, it goes a long way. Receivers covered as a result. UQB in, and here's the toss. Speaking of experience in the secondary, Truett Manuel reels it in. Moments after catching the touchdown pass for the Falcons of West Henderson. He is waiting on what is the pick to get the job done, and it is a 1st down at the 44-yard line after this interception. Mentioned it, new quarterback into the game. Pace seeing his 2nd action of the day, and then crossing over to pick this off is Truett Manuel, Tom, showing all his skills.
Again, on this side of the 50 at the 43-yard line, and, man, already 14-0. You need to stop defensively.
Flag before the first snap is handed over to Dimsdale. And this is going to back the Falcons up just a bit. So enough to force the grounding penalty. Ward gave way to Pace. Pace sends it into the secondary. And just as we're talking about the experience of that secondary, the combo that exists there between Manuel and Castro at the safety positions, they come up with one of the key turnovers in this ballgame.
Yeah, that's one of the things. They had 3 turnovers last week, and we talked about from Hendersonville's standpoint, they don't want to turn over the ball. Don't give them good field position, and a couple of bad punts as well, so it's been a difficult start so far.
Dimsdale swings out there. This is deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it lands on that Hendersonville logo, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 15 coming. One of the developing storylines in these games, always you look at comparisons between the two teams, and one of the developing storylines here, Tom, you got inexperience at one secondary grouping positions on one side, and you've got the great experience and the great impact on the other side, and you see the group that does the good work up front for Hendersonville as that is swatted down. And Buford doing a nice job there. But they're continuing to test this young secondary of Hendersonville, and it pays off one more time. As that's caught down to the 15-yard line goes Diego Castro. To that point, a young secondary being tested on one side, an experienced secondary rising to the occasion on the other. That really has to be one of the main developing storylines in this game.
Yeah, it does. And I tell you, they stepped up into the pocket that time and got it out in front and able to make that catch. If you get it near Castro, get it near Manuel, they're probably going to make the catch. But again, that ball was thrown exceptionally well by Lida.
And that was the freshman on the coverage. Again, you talk about the freshman, the junior, and a second freshman in that secondary for Hendersonville versus the two senior leaders in that secondary for the Falcons of West Henderson. And that's the reason we make that point. It's been the deep shots early that has helped West Henderson develop this lead, which they're trying to grow here. Yeah, you can see the good job getting in there, disrupting by Landrum.
C.J. Landrum as well, and they really like the sophomore linebacker that helped clean it up there, Gianni Jacobs at 6'2", 205, and Coach thinks he has an opportunity as he matures to have a chance at the next level.
First Bank red zone chance continues with Dimsdale carrying it across the 15. And it's going to bring up third and about 7 when all is said and done here. As the Falcons are on the march again, here's Dimsdale.
Yeah, you get another look at Suber coming up. He got beat on the pass play a moment ago, but a nice job to make that tackle. And he also got some help again from the aforementioned Jacobs on that play.
So third down as the Falcons are in search of a third score. Coming this way. Lida fakes it, then tosses it toward the back, but again, a little too tall. His intended target once more, Diego Castro. And those same two individuals in many ways, Tom, factoring in to that major first quarter story, Diego Castro and Manuel, they are the secondary for the Falcons, and they are the players continually targeted to stretch this secondary for Hendersonville.
Well, and you talked about their ability to make the play, which is going to open it up for others as well. We know Dimsdale can run the ball, 3 returning offensive linemen. You get your tight end involved at a certain point probably too.
Here's the fourth down play, and the Falcons going for it. To the end zone. And incomplete is the call as the ball trickles away. A turnover on downs, and that's huge for the Bearcats as it keeps Hendersonville down just the 2 scores as opposed to seeing the advantage grow.
Yeah, really good job there. You see Lattimore, and he's been involved both offensively and defensively and taking a shot there and right in front, had to throw it over the top as well, and a nice break on the ball. And that's huge when you're down 14-0.
And he's the senior in that secondary group for Hendersonville. The lone senior back there at the safety position on this young defense for Hendersonville. Just a little toss in the interior. And enough blue jerseys there that it's just a yard or 2 on the toss to Rudisil.
You see Lida there as well, get turnaround play a little defense as well, and 5 go both ways. But you mentioned it earlier, the difference between experience. They've got 15 seniors that are returning 15 seniors as starters this year, and just 7 on the Hendersonville side.
Gotta love Ironman football, right?
Oh, man.
See so
and
many
particularly
of these players.
As hot as it is and everything else, to be able to do that is remarkable.
Going both ways on turf on a near 100-degree day, now turned evening, and beautiful evening it is here in Hendersonville. A manageable third down is coming, and what a lift it would be right now for Hendersonville to move the chains and perhaps begin to go on the march at the 1:22 mark of the first quarter.
Well, you've got to have some success at some point. You got to keep the ball and give your defense an opportunity to get off the field. And here is a big play right now because normally it's been 3rd and long.
Mentioned 3rd and manageable. We're going to call it a long 2. Still looking to the sideline to see what the call is going to be. Play clock is at single digits. In fact, this is going to be snapped with 4 on the play clock. And he'll keep it in the interior. Big-time hole for Rudisil. And he's going to look for another gear at midfield. All the way down to the 20-yard line of the Falcons. The run of the night for Hendersonville, and it's Rudisil providing it.
That is huge. Broke it up inside. Good interior blocking. We talked about what he was able to accomplish last year. Give him that opportunity, a missed tackle, and he splits the difference there, and a gigantic run all the way down to the 20-yard line.
What a lift for the Bearcats on this long run by Rudisill. Sets it up inside the First Bank red zone at right on the 20-yard line. Rudisill takes it into the red zone for sure now at the 18-yard line as the clock winds inside the final half minute of the quarter. All of our red zone opportunities tonight brought to you by First Bank, 13 locations across North Carolina to serve you. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. So a lift that would no doubt have Elijah Gibbs smiling down as the Hendersonville Bearcats find a spark toward the end of the first period. They will gather up and talk about the scoring opportunity to come. Here are some images of Elijah Gibbs. Honored tonight. He will be memorialized with a sticker, number 10, they will wear on their helmets throughout the year. They'll gather up at the 10-yard line week in and week out, pay tribute to the memory of Elijah Gibbs. Tonight's game here at Hendersonville High School, dedicated to the memory of the youngster, his parents, honorary captains on this night prior to the game, and everything surrounding this Henderson County battle, a tribute to his life and his memory.
A buddy of mine actually is a season's ticket holder, therefore is a partial owner. So I'm going to be sitting with an owner wearing my Saints jacket.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you in part by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Over $5 million of furniture in stock, ready to deliver to you. Visit their Arden and Waynesville showrooms or go to carolinafurnitureconcepts.com. Beautiful Hendersonville, North Carolina. Apple Festival time's coming.
That's right.
You know that, and bragging rights are on the line between the Falcons and the Bearcats on this night. Falcons at the end of one quarter lead it 14-0, but it's Hendersonville driving. A little bit of a spark for the Bearcats. In fact, a big-time spark on the run of Rudisill.
Yeah, it was huge. We have seen third down and long and a couple of poor punts that provided short fields, drives of 26 and 22 yards for touchdowns, but Rudisill on 3rd and 2 with the 21, able to take it 59 yards out of the 20-yard line. This would be huge if they could get it into the end zone.
So it is Ward, who has spent the majority of the time at quarterback, taking the snap to open the period, and a flag is down before the first play of this second quarter gets underway. You know, for fans who maybe weren't with us in that first period time, just finding their way to us as they sort out the motion penalty, which will back Hendersonville up just a bit. Touchdown catches by the combo of Diego Castro and Truett Manuel, the two touchdowns that have put the Falcons of West Henderson on top. And, you know, Lida there to provide one of those, and Cade Young to provide the toss on the other. So both quarterbacks factoring in for the Falcons tonight as well. Here is Hendersonville's look for an answer early second. Pressure, and dropped is the quarterback in there to take care of business. And Tom, I thought we were going to lose you there for a moment as well. It was in there to take care of business and make the stop. What a great job on pursuit as you get one more look at the quarterback sack. It's Man who gets in there and provides the stop.
Yep, didn't have many opportunity to throw that football. We talked about Man, all conference inside linebacker. young man that I think had 109 tackles a year ago, and they think he is going to be one of their instrumental players on defense, and a good play there.
Zane McCraw there for the high five as well. And this comes near side, and that is incomplete. Yeah, if you're wondering what we're talking about, teasing with Tom a little bit tongue-in-cheek about losing him, he's right side by side here as we are with some of the coaches. And you know how these coaches hang on every single play, and the chair's not needed most of the time, and the energy top level. And I say that to say we are seeing right before our eyes, and you are in these early moments of the quarter, just how much this county rivalry means. And you can see it on the face of Coach Ward as he knows a critical moment is in front of his team.
Yeah,
Tom.
Right now, with 11-11 to go and down by 14, you had really good field position. But once again, a fourth down in a long situation.
Fourth and forever. They need the 10. Stepping up into the pocket. That's going to be a little shy, but can the yards after the catch make the difference? Striving for the marker, and it would appear just a little bit shy of it. On the effort to get there is C.J. Landrum, and it is going to be a couple of yards shy when all is said and done where they spot it. The Falcons take over as this West Henderson team has reacted and responded, and the Hendersonville opportunity goes for naught.
I'll tell you, get that ball to that young man right there, Landrum, at 6'3", 245, and he had pretty good opportunity there, but Castro came up and made the tackle.
And you know what Iron Man football does? He'll stay on the field now.
Yes, he'll go
and take over his defensive responsibilities.
And the same thing will flip around for Castro as well.
Gotta love the intensity, the tenacity, the toughness with which these young men play. And this is given right into the pile across the 10 to the 14-yard line or so, where they're going to end up spotting this as we have worked our way into the second quarter of action. Your takeaways from the first period now that we see this Falcons team go back to work?
We talked about Hendersonville. They need to get some offensive consistency, and they weren't able to get much generated, and two poor punts gave tremendous field position, and then able to take advantage and get those touchdowns in there. But they did get a stop a little while ago. They had a little bit more effectiveness on offense, so maybe settling in a little bit.
Here's Manuel. Manuel with some room. He's across the 30. He's going to be up near midfield. Finally drugged down at the 42-yard line. Truett Manuel to move the chains with yet another of the latest first downs on the night for this West Henderson squad.
And when we talk with Coach before the Whitaker, before the game and during the course of the week, he wanted to get Emmanuel not only involved in the slot as a wide receiver, but wanted to get him into the backfield. We saw how effective he can be there.
Well, you have an athlete like a Truett Manuel. You just want to get the football in his hands as often as possible, whatever the case may be. Falcons have been able to do that tonight. They're going to turn handed to Dimsdale here, and he's across the 45 to the 48-yard line. The drum line and the home faithful for Hendersonville trying to will this defense to a much-needed stop as the Falcons are on the march at midfield trying to go up 3 scores again.
We talked about 3 returning offensive linemen up front, and you saw Mason Carver, the sophomore. He's the one that's going to settle in there. And then you also have the center, a transfer from Irvin as well, Mason Cohen.
Landrum stepped across the line before the snap. And it is going to be offsides against the Bearcats, and that's going to be enough on 2nd down and 4 to move the chains. They were calling it 2nd down and a long 3. And either way you slice that, 5 yards, enough to set up a fresh set for the Falcons. They'll have it inside Hendersonville territory now at the 46-yard line. Lida going to give it to Dimsdale again. Dimsdale running toward the marker on the far side. And they're going to say he stepped out at the 39-yard line. So he's shy of the first down, but still a pretty good chunk. Boy, you'll take that on first down all night long.
Yeah, I mean, Dimsdale's a guy that we mentioned over 1,000 yards last year, 24 for 118, and 4 touchdowns last week in the win over North Conover. And a pretty good job there by the defensive tackle, Lomarion Barber, to come back and help make that play. Stepped out, I think, a little bit earlier.
Yeah, he did. They said at the 39-yard line is where he stepped out. Call it a 2nd down. And about 3 more. Here's number 3, Lida. Looking deep. Far side, in and out of the hands of his intended target over there, and incomplete. On the coverage for Hendersonville was Thompson, who did a nice job to knock that away as they tried to make the connection with, it looks to be Howell, who was the intended target over there.
Well, and it was Gianni Thompson. He's a freshman on the left side. And then with the Suber, he was over on the right side, and a couple of freshmen as well.
And this ends up being given to Dimsdale again as it works its way inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. And it's going to be a first down, so you can move the chains. And it goes to the 33, it would appear. And so you see the Falcons, they bring the clock on down here as they get ready to set up shop. Much more deliberate on this drive.
Yeah,
Tom.
And, it's 14-0 right now, and trying to get one more here, and they've had some success running the football.
This works its way to the 30, down to the 29-yard line, where Dimsdale brings it to what's going to be a second down, looks like about 6. And 8-14. And so you bring up second down now.
Second down for West Henderson.
Going to be given off. Dimsdale again, able to get past the first run of defenders there. And down to the 26-yard line it goes. So now, Tom, set up nicely for another third down that's going to be consequential on this drive.
Yes, it is. And I say Lander coming up the line of scrimmage, I think you'll see him finish it off here as he was on the other side. And then he comes over, and he and Lattimore make that tackle there. That's a big, hard hit on a tough runner in Dimsdale.
So the clock at 7.5 minutes in this second quarter of action. And going to be Lyda again, who ends up working this off. That's appears to be Howell one more time, and as he works his way inside the 30, and the stop is made. So fourth down now coming.
Tell you, a little toss sweep there and jet sweep type situation. Well played. Howell had been moved to a wide receiver for much of this year and expected to be there. Was it running back last year? So he has that ability as well. I mean, it's the ball in his hands.
So the fourth down play, as Lyda stays out there, he's going to direct traffic just a little bit, pull Dimsdale just up off of his left hip. And this is tipped up and incomplete. It would appear Hendersonville has turned the Falcons aside here on fourth down. And in doing so, the Bearcats hanging tough to keep it at 14-0. So it's a couple of chances now.
Real good defense
for West, Tom, to have extended this lead, and it is not materialized.
It's going to see this. It's the sophomore linebacker, Jacobs, young man we talked about and was highly regarded when we visited with Coach Ward about his abilities as a 6'2", 205-pound sophomore. Got the big left hand up and knocked it down. As you mentioned, 2 good stops on fourth down.
Has kept it from being 21-0 or in some cases 28-0, and they've been able to capitalize on both chances. Instead, just down a couple of scores. Here's Hendersonville very much still in it and now back in control of the football as this is given off to Rudisil, who is up near the 30. He's at the 29-yard line. And the clock inside 6.5 minutes. Second quarter action. This Hendersonville team, you got to give the Bearcats credit right now, hanging on around,
yes.
Tom, with just enough work by the defense to make it so.
Yeah, because this one could have gotten out of hand. There were 2 drives of 26 and 22 yards, and then the defense has risen to the occasion, as the cliche goes, to make a couple stops on fourth down to keep it right where it is. Now they need to get something going offensively.
And Rudisil going to be stacked up in there among others. Is Mann one more time. How many times have we called the all-conference performer earlier in this one? Mann having one of the great games defensively so far for the Falcons.
Yeah, one of the inside linebackers. He teamed with Jude Lyda there.
Timeout is on the field. We will take it as well. Come back with more in a moment in a 14-0 game at Hendersonville. Bojangles is a proud sponsor of Friday Night Rivals. It's not just football season, it's tailgate season. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box today. And tailgate like a legend. It's Bo time. Image of the historic Henderson County Courthouse and now one of the historic Henderson County rivalries. Boy, you think about what it means to the four programs that compete for supremacy in this state when they collide on nights like this. Tom.
It's amazing to me, Jason, that all these schools are within, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 miles of one another and highly competitive. And you got 3A schools, and then Hendersonville is the 2A school here. So it's a really unique situation.
Coach Ward played in it. He said, I remember these battles.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing those familiar colors on the far side. Sometimes we got them. Sometimes they got us. But it's memories that last a lifetime. Here's one for that defensive group for the Falcons as they once again close up the pocket on the younger of the wards here. And with 5:28 remaining as we work on through this second period, way behind the sticks one more time, Hendersonville is in position to have to kick it away on 4th and forever. Return men at midfield on that Hendersonville logo, which indicates what should be really good field position for the Falcons again.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily this end of the field, Tom, because we flipped sides once at the quarter break, but on one end of the field, in essence, the majority of this contest has been played so far.
You need a good punt here. It's been difficult, a little much better.
That's a better one, absolutely, but caught. And Castro going to bring it near side, and he's going to stay inside that sideline and bring it all the way back. Diego Castro with the punt return. A little better punt, you said it, but an even better result for the Falcons. Another United touchdown for West. And Tom, a special teams play for the second consecutive year that makes a big difference for the Falcons.
Yeah, we saw and talked last year about how that played out with Manuel early on in the ball game, would set the tone of the 34-20 run, 20 win. And, you know, look at it, the wall set up there. He set it up beautifully, waited a moment, then got down the sideline. And really, that was just an outstanding job of special teams play to take it the distance for the touchdown.
United Federal Credit Union touchdown. All of our touchdowns tonight sponsored by United Federal Credit Union. And that return of just past midfield as it is taken the distance by Diego Castro. And the offense, a couple of stalls toward the red zone, but the special teams unit tacks on a touchdown to the score at now 21-0 Falcons. Well, the Asheville Smiles smile can tonight. There's much to smile about just in the rivalry itself, and a whole lot of smiles for certainly those who have made the trip out to enjoy a little high school football on this night. And they are all smiles on that Falcons side of things, with now a 21-0 advantage in effect. And those some of the more beautiful of the smiles you're going to see tonight here in the land of the Bearcats. And Tom, again, with the heat that had been in effect coming into today, the way things have cooled off to some degree going into tonight, everybody getting in here with ease to witness this football game, all the reasons why you should be smiling. And that, again, is our Asheville Smiles smile can.
Really good crowd on both sides here tonight.
So after the 59-yard punt return, the Falcons kick it away with that 21-0 lead. And that's a live ball as it was touched. And it appears as if Hendersonville was able to get back on top of it and maintain possession. That's one of a couple of times tonight the Bearcats have been fortunate enough to fall on the football. And instead of giving it away here, take a look at how tough this became.
Well, with an oblong ball, you never know which way it's going to go. And it kind of kicked left there, and fortunately able to dive on the ball and get it back.
Yeah, good recovery by Todd Lattimore, senior linebacker, wide receiver, running back, as he's listed for Coach Ward.
1st and 10, Hendersonville.
Here comes the first down play for Hendersonville. Hendersonville, right now just really looking to string some first downs together and put together a sustained drive.
They haven't had much offense other than the 59-yard run by Rudisill, which gave them pretty good opportunity to get on the board. And they have to call timeout.
Carry some momentum forward and hang around in this football game. But timeout is going to be called for as everything stops with 4:35 left to play in the first half. Well, a challenge always when you're breaking in a young quarterback, yes. But there is youth at so many positions for Hendersonville, Tom.
Well, yeah, we talked about that, and the returning or the starters for only 7 senior starters for this Hendersonville team, 15 for West Henderson. But, yeah, when you try to get your baptism under fire in varsity football, particularly when you're a freshman, you've got to get that kind of experience, and it can be a difficult situation, and you need to be able to run the ball a little bit. Couldn't do that much last week, threw it a little bit, but here tonight it's been pretty difficult all the way around other than the Rudisill 59-yard run.
Well, what it has resulted in is a number of highlights you will see as part of the Asheville Chevy Show coming up at the half. And I saw Stan and Bobby in the house earlier, so you'll get to see Stan and Bobby. You will hear from a number of the key contributors from both of these schools that make Henderson County such a special place. That and so much more. We'll have numbers, we'll have highlights, all part of the Asheville Chevy Show at the half.
Hey, what? Pretty colorful there in the stands with the students on the far side.
And a full house over there as well. This off the hands of the intended target and intercepted by Diego Castro one more time. Falcons set up nicely. They'll start this drive in the red zone after the latest of the forced turnovers.
They got off the hands and just up into the air. And a young man that's used to catching the football, Castro, and he knows what to do with it once he catches it as well.
Now, right place, right time for Diego Castro after this caromed off of Ace Smith's hands.
Had a chance. See it again. Yeah.
First play from scrimmage after the turnover. Dimsdale tried to dance through some potential tacklers, and he gets down near the 10-yard line. Now closing in on 4 minutes remaining in the opening half, and West Henderson again looking for a larger lead as they have lived to some degree in the First Bank red zone tonight. Here's one more look at the pick.
Yeah, from the backside this time. Good camera work again tonight per usual, and got to look at that coming right at you.
That carom almost as true as a toss his direction. It was just perfectly placed. And a timely arrival for Castro. It's going to be offsides against Hendersonville. And after the offside penalty, it will be second down and about 1, depending upon where they spot this. Well, looks like after they walk this off, a couple still needed. Second down and 2, they're going to call it. Dimsdale through traffic. Dimsdale still struggling for the end zone, and he's in. Touchdown. West Henderson, a United Federal Credit Union touchdown, the first of the night on the ground, and this one for Dimsdale. And it is 27-0 Falcons.
Yeah, great field position, able to take advantage of it. Another quick drive after the turnover. A couple short drives are set up by short punts as well, and got the blocking up front as well, and then puts his head down, knows what to do, tries into the end zone. 3 had to hold him there, but he was not to be denied.
Here's Joshua Sandoval. Penalty flags fly. His kick is good, but again, the flag there to be sorted out as the teams will trot off of the field the 4th in as many tries through the uprights for Sandoval, making it 28-0 in favor of West Henderson, as it has been all Falcons in many ways thus far tonight.
Yeah, short drive. We talked about the 150, 34 seconds. This one about a little bit more than 30 as well. And you see the penalty.
Maybe a personal foul penalty that they will assess on the ensuing kickoff. 28-0 at the 3:42 mark of the first half, as West Henderson trying to make it consecutive years, and this time right here at Hendersonville. But you think about West Henderson and the way that the year closed out, Tom. We talked a lot about the 12 wins. We talked a lot about the unbeaten conference campaign. But remember, it came down to the last contest of the year. Packed house there for West. Tuscola, so many big moments that made up the season, and yet that the biggest of the moments for West as they capped the year in that showdown moment that got the job done for the championship. And in pursuit of the county championship one more time, there's Dimsdale's touchdown.
Well, and it was an emphatic win for West Henderson. And in visiting with Coach Whitaker this week, we talked about, you asked him about some of the moments throughout the course of last year. There were a couple of them when the senior leadership had to take control and
down at Polk.
Yep, they had a difficult situation at halftime after the big win over West Henderson and 140-26. But that's part of the success as well, when your senior leaders can take control of the situation as well.
But he said, when I saw them before the Tuscola game in pregame warmups, and when I saw them against Hendersonville in pregame warmups, fitting on a night like this to be reminded of that, he said those 2 nights they were particularly locked in. And this is a West Henderson team that has been locked in, at least in terms of putting 4 scores up on the board at the 3:42 mark of the second quarter, in command of this one thus far again tonight.
They're doing it in a different way, and they're going to have to do it with Lucas Cachillo going on to Gardner-Webb now. And Gardner-Webb's been an outstanding team out of the Big South for a couple of years now as well. And so far, so good in the first game and a half they played.
Yeah, Lyda and Young have provided quite the 1-2 punch, that quarterback tandem. In many ways, the 1-2 punch you get from the combo of Manuel and Castro as receivers and defenders. And on the defensive side of things now, along with Mann, who again makes his presence known in the thick of this West D.
He has been a force in the middle of the night. The senior, the all-conference performer, one of the inside linebackers, and there he is.
Not the biggest guy on the field, but measure his heart. You can see it on display right there.
Couple different looks from behind, and then he's just going to come and ride him down,
8 seconds?
Like the rodeo.
8 seconds. 3:05 and ticking downward. And Hendersonville taking time to set things up. Be second down again from behind the sticks, and the play clock expired before Hendersonville was able to get the snap off.
Well, the one thing about it is it is 28-0 right now with 2:51 to go to the second quarter, and haven't had a lot of success offensively. But man, you'd really love to keep the ball away from this West Henderson team and not give them a chance to get another touchdown here before the end of the first half.
Second down long. They need the 30-yard line for a first down. In fact, have to get across it, but blue jerseys swarm, and there is nowhere to run or hide for the Hendersonville QB, and Ward is dropped as third is coming.
And there was a flag.
Have another flag, yeah,
on the far side of the helmet of one of the Hendersonville players came off. And I don't know if this one might go against West Henderson. You see the young man coming off that his helmet did come off there. And we'll wait and see what the penalty will be. That was Marion Barber in on that particular possession on the offensive line. So did they? Okay.
Still
All right.
talking about it as we'll give you another look at it as that experienced crew. Here it is, Tom.
They want to run a little bit of option, nothing there. And then away from it up top. See him rip the helmet off there. And you'd lie to getting mixed up there. But I don't know what penalty was, or nonetheless, it's going to be
snap coming, feet in the end zone, and again, blue jerseys swarm. And again, the ball carrier taken down pretty quickly. That was given off to Gianni Jacobs, the running back, and he is dropped as it dips inside 2.5. And now the 4th down and forever, as they still, again, need the 30-yard line. You see just how pestering this West Falcon defense has been.
Yeah, not much room running inside as they try to punch it out a little bit.
Looks like the punter's standing back in the end zone as he's set to kick it away. And a return man again on the Hendersonville side of the 50. And they will just let this be blown dead as it is touched at the 36-yard line. And that is where the Falcons will take over. Up 28-0 with the football inside of 2 minutes remaining in the opening half.
Well, West Henderson has taken advantage of the great field position. They've had drives of 26 and 22 on plays of 4 and 3. They had a 60-yard interception return by Diego Castro, and then they added another play, which is a 12-yard drive for a touchdown as well. So provided opportunity, they've been taking advantage of it, although there have been 2 4th-down stops by Hendersonville here in the first half.
Yeah, you look at 28-0, and the West folks have to be feeling like maybe they should lead by more at this point. And flags fly before Lyda can do anything much with the football here. This is going to be against West. Motion against the Falcons will back West up just a bit.
You definitely need to get a stop here and keep it where it is. Get the locker room, try to regroup here. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. And it has been a difficult situation so far. And these two teams over the years have played competitive ball games. It's been tough here, though, I should say. West Henderson has had 2 tough games in the last 2 times here, but not so far tonight.
West Henderson in command, looking for more. Here's a big-time pick. That's going to be intercepted by Jacobs. You saw Jacobs carry the football just a moment ago. We mentioned he was listed running back and outside linebacker, and it's in that second role, that defensive role, that Jacobs comes away with his moment of the night thus far.
You know, he was the young man on 4th down that got his hand on a pass as well.
Boy, really read this beautifully, leapt up and made the catch. First down, Hendersonville. So the defense for Hendersonville once more turning away a Falcons bid to extend the lead.
That's 3 times they've been able to do that tonight. And, you know, here we are. They just need to get it to half and keep it right where it is right now. If you can't get a big play, Rudisell, we've seen go 59 yards earlier in the ball game.
Desperate to cross the 50 and loading up to try to do that with a toss near sideline. Batted down. That was defended nicely by Robinson, Neil Robinson, a wide receiver / DB, who was back there in that secondary to disrupt as they tried to make the connection with who else but C.J. Landrum.
And you also had Diego Castro and Truitt Manuel in the GA as well. But, yeah, good play there to get his hand inside because that's a big young man, 6'3", 245. With inside position, he can make that catch occasionally. Be a good job to go around the backside with the right hand to knock it down.
Clock stopped at 1:39 to play opening half. Boy, what a lift it would be for Hendersonville if they could find a way to put together a late drive and a late score. Threading the needle and then tossing this near side, but that was intended for Ace Smith and is incomplete.
Yeah.
You know, Hendersonville, we should mention, Tom, tonight without Amir Albany. You'll remember Amir Albany, who made the big contributions last week, but he was injured and is out for this game after dealing with some head injury issues from a week ago. And so that's one player that has been a part of this Hendersonville attack in the early part of 2023 that's not there at the disposal of the Bearcats tonight.
And he had 6 catches for 89 yards at that time and was instrumental offensively last week for Hendersonville, and not available this week.
But it'll be a big piece of things for Hendersonville moving forward. We talk about this young team looking for key contributors. Have trips in this package near side this time, and Ward is just going to be swallowed up as among those there and able to ultimately make the stop is Quentin Bell. Quentin Bell making the stop. 4th down coming, and timeout being called for with 1:18 to play as West will try to preserve as much of an opportunity as possible.
There was again man, as you saw there, that pressured outside, made him turn back inside and lost his footing and went down there. And going to call that timeout and have an opportunity here one more time before the first half comes to an end.
Looking for something to celebrate. The Hendersonville fans on the near side, their team with a 4th down coming up. And a Falcons team having put together the only 4 scores of this first half. Itching to get the football back right now. Well, let's revisit briefly your thoughts about what the keys to this contest were going to be. How do you grade these teams so far on what you discussed pregame, Tom?
Well, make the quarterback uncomfortable. That has been a major factor for West Henderson tonight. And then when we visited with the coach, he said try to keep it close into the 4th quarter. And then they've been able to widen it out here in the first half. Hendersonville offensive consistency, we have not seen that. And then avoid the big play. And for the most part, they have, except for the interception and return for a touchdown. So they have made the quarterback uncomfortable, and the offensive consistency has not been there tonight for Hendersonville.
Here's the punt. And a return man will fill this on his side of the 50. Here comes Truett Manuel with it. Manuel runs a guy over at about the 36. And he will finally be brought down at around the 34-yard line. There it's going to be 1 minute, 7 seconds with which to work for the Falcons as they're once again, in many ways, knocking on the door one more time here, Tom. Let's see what they do as you take a look at Coach Whitaker. And he's got so many options to take this chance for a spin. 1:07 again remaining, 28-0. As you know what West Henderson is thinking. They'd like to carry a 35-0 advantage into the locker room. Lida throwing to that end, far side, end zone. That is caught, and it is a touchdown. The latest catch for Diego Castro of the touchdown variety. Another United TD for the Falcons.
Yeah, throw it up there, have the one-on-one coverage, and boy, he just in stride, and if he catches it with his hands away from the body there, just got a step. That's all he needed. Dropped it in there for the touchdown.
Diego Castro, he had to work through the hand of the defender Thompson, who was on the scene, but hung with it, made the catch, and pending the extra point, it will be 35-0 Falcons with just under a minute remaining in the opening half of action. And Sandoval, who has been perfect tonight on extra point tries, will remain that way. A perfect 5 for 5. And just when it looked like something may be brewing for Hendersonville, the Falcons take it right back, and we call them the high-flying Falcons for a reason. Another aerial attack moment for Lida, and he connects beautifully with Castro for the latest of the touchdowns.
And the other part about that is tremendous protection up front. Had plenty of time to throw the football, and as that young man settled in and had a couple chances early in the first half and first quarter of play, and missed on a couple of them, but not so much here later on in the ballgame.
Images of a year ago with what this team was able to put together in so many ways, Tom, and off to that kind of start again. You know, that was an impressive win last week for the Falcons, but you come in here now in a county rivalry situation and serve notice in this first half that you're in complete command of the ball game here at Hendersonville.
Yeah, 54-22 last week in North Conover, again, with experience on both sides of the football, but from the quarterback position, you wonder what you're going to get there. And with the Coachella moving on to Gardner Webb, and so far so good. And this is a Hendersonville team that has been used to success here, and kind of an unfamiliar situation.
Not the night you want the push-up assignment, as you saw it on the far side.
Yeah.
You are going to get the full workout
There you go.
in this one if you're handling those responsibilities for West Henderson. All Falcons thus far, 59 ticks remaining in the opening half of action, as the Falcons are set to kick it away one more time. And this is end-over-end kick to around the 30. And a return for Curtis Mitchell, who is met at around the 37-yard line, and that's where Hendersonville will take over. And look who, again, Tom, man is right there once more.
He's been the man tonight.
He certainly
the defensive
has.
side. And, it's another thing that kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. We talked about Lida and special teams playing some other things, and you could look at man there. And a lot of these young men play not only their respective side of the football, but also on some special teams and contribute in other ways as well.
They got started from their own 37. First and 10, Hendersonville.
So Hendersonville opting to go with the quarterback. Pace one more time. Saw him come into the game earlier. And now finds himself with a couple of backs to work with. More for protection than anything with the continual pursuit from this Falcons squad. And he hangs in there, zips a pass, in fact, to C.J. Landrum. That's good for about 8.
Stepped up in the pocket. There was pressure coming from backside, and good job there. And then the left that had to go down and pick it off the turf and had good position in front of a defensive back.
Hendersonville indicative of what kind of night it's been, looking for a rare crossing of the 50 and tossing one toward Landrum to that end, but they're going to say he was out of bounds when he caught this, and it is incomplete. Yeah. If you're looking for incremental progress to try to provide a spark heading into the second half, just to string together some first downs would be huge. But this, we'll see incompletion at the end of it as Landrum lands just out of bounds. 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, you're under 30 seconds here, and that stopped the clock, but it's another big one on 3rd and 2.
3rd 2. Wrestled down by who else but Eben Man.
He has had one heck of a first half. I mean, he's one of the inside linebackers there, and he just shoots in there and makes the play after play.
Did his best Lane Frost impersonation a little earlier tonight, and then on the backside of that has continued to just be a ball hawk on the defensive side of the ball. Everywhere the football is either given off or thrown toward, you can find man there. And with 13.6 to play and 4th down coming, the teams huddle up in the closing stages of this first half. Your impressions from this first half, obviously an impressive showing by the Falcons.
Yeah, it has been, and they've taken advantage of field position. And, good teams do that. And, their drives have been 1, 2, 3, and 4 plays. And the longest was 1 minute and 50 seconds in the first drive that they got for a touchdown, and you throw in the 60-yard interception return as well by Castro. So they've had short fields. They've been able to take advantage of it, short drives, and they have been able to score in a hurry, and then they've been able to shut things down on the other side. So you got a good combination of both successful offensive performance and then also the defensive side as well.
Well, a 4th down play from the 43-yard line. And again, Pace has been in the quarterback the last several moments position, and he will toss this far side. That is incomplete, and it will be Falcons football at the 43 with 8 seconds remaining in the half. So we've seen deep shots pay dividends on more than one occasion in this football game, and there's time for another one of those should the Falcons so choose. We'll see what Coach Whitaker and company decide to do here. But it certainly has to be tempting from the 43-yard line.
Yep, you got a 35-0 lead with 8 seconds to go, and you're 43 yards away. So we'll see what they choose to do here.
Lida, you wonder if he's going to trot up there and take a knee to take this 35-0 lead into the locker room, or there's designs on more. Dimsdale comes right in behind him. And they're going to just give this to Dimsdale, and he stays in between the hashes to bring the second period to a close. But it is a first half in which the West Henderson Falcons flex their offensive muscles, mainly through the air, to the combo that you expected to see factor in heavily tonight. Diego Castro, Truitt Manuel, great work from Jude Lida to work it to them regularly, and they will carry that 35-0 advantage into the intermission. Boy, going to be interesting to see what we hear from Paul Whitaker. Be interesting to hear what he has to say as Nelson works his way his direction. His team, early on left some out there, Tom, but in the end they go into the break with a sizable advantage.
But you know how coaches are, Jason. They go 35-0 at half, and we had a couple of other opportunities. So a good performance all the way around, and had the short drives and able to score in a couple of different ways. 2 different quarterbacks. Young threw the ball well, effectively as well, and special teams play as well, and all 3 phases of the game very good.
No doubt about it. And again, waiting for the Carolina Furniture Concepts Coach's Corner interview with Coach Paul Whitaker of West Henderson, his Falcons, in a commanding lead of 35-0 at the break. And he's working his way toward Nelson as we speak. And it looks like we're just about ready for the coach's interview. We will hear the thoughts of the head coach leading by a sizable margin at the break.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. So, Coach, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You guys have dominated on both sides of the ball. You guys have had some great stops on third down on the defense and on the offensive side. Your quarterback and your wide receiver, y'all have expressed great chemistry. What are your thoughts on the first half, Coach? Since y'all up by 5 touchdowns.
Well, early we gave up some points. We had the opening play there, the game, a little double pass, and felt like we got inside the red zone twice and didn't score. But the punt return kind of flipped the momentum, put it back on our side. And like you said, defense is playing lights out, getting pressure on the quarterback.
And what can we look forward to in the second half of the game, Coach?
Hopefully the same thing we did the first half.
All right, good luck in the second half, Coach. Yes, sir. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Well, first half for his West Henderson Falcons, in which they build a 35-0 lead. You know what's coming up next? The Asheville Chevy Show at the half. You'll want to stick around. You'll learn more about these 2 teams, these 2 schools, these 2 programs. And we'll have highlights and stats before all is said and done. Asheville Chevy Show coming up on the other side of the break.
Bengals Friday Night Rivals halftime, brought to you by Asheville Chevrolet.
Welcome back to the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show here on Friday Night Rivals. Joining us are the proud sponsors from the aforementioned Asheville Chevrolet. Y'all know them very well at this point. Stan Anders and Bobby Roussel. Gentlemen, good evening to you both.
Good Good evening.
All right.
Great to be here.
Of course, it's always great to be here. And of course, it's even greater to see both of you two in your shining faces. We love that. Now, Bobby, let's talk football, man. What are your thoughts on the first half of the game?
Well, it's been a rough half for Hendersonville, but, you know, they showed some life right at the very end of the halftime. So looking forward to a good second half.
All right. You never know what will happen in the second half. Now, Bobby, I understand you have a special shout out you want to give at this time. Who is that now?
Well, we have one of our employees, Tony Valentine,
Okay.
who's been a salesman with us for over 20 years. Any of his friends, I just wanted to give him a shout out he graduated from West Henderson.
Okay.
So anybody, you know, that wants a car, come see Tony, and Tony would be glad to help you.
That sounds fantastic. Big shout out to Tony indeed. Now, you mentioned the cars just now. Let's talk business. You know, what's inventory looking like on the Asheville Chevrolet lot today?
Well, we have a good selection of Chevrolet trucks, and there's a select few of them that have up to $6,500 off, which there's been no rebates for years, as everyone knows.
Okay.
And it's starting to come back. So come on down and see us.
That sounds like outstanding business. I like that. Now, Stan, I turn to you. You look very handsome in your pink polo shirt there.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's the occasion?
Well, you know, within about a month, we're pointing everything to our breast cancer awareness event
Of
on
course.
October the 5th from 5:30 to 8:30 at the dealership. But I'm wearing this tonight because hopefully your folks that are seeing this will be able to look at the number on the bottom of the screen and call, because for the second year in a row, we're partnering with Envision and with Blue Ridge Health to offer mobile mammograms to folks. And I'm a cancer survivor. One of the reasons I survived cancer was I caught it early.
Okay.
And even last year, we had some people that came in and they caught some things early, so they were able to be okay. And so, you know, it's very important. We want every woman that has not had a mammogram and wants to make an appointment with us, so that the mobile mammogram bus will be there all day, and they're taking appointments. They'll help you with insurance if you're covered with insurance. If you're not, they'll help you with a nominal fee to be able to get a mammogram, so that these women can, if they got something, they can catch it early. If they don't have anything, they want to be able to breathe a sigh of relief. So that's what the pink is all about, and we're going to be pointing to that night and to getting as many women as we can to be there and get mobile mammograms.
I know you said we're about a month away, but one more time for those who may have missed it. What date is this again and what time?
October the 5th. It's a Thursday from 5:30 to 8:30 at Asheville Chevrolet.
This is a noble effort. That sounds going to be a remarkable event. And I would know, I was there last year, folks. We encourage you all to be there as well this year. Isn't that right, gentlemen?
That's
Absolutely.
right.
All right. And before I let you go, of course, we talked about y'all's longevity a lot last year. You guys have been proud supporters of high school athletics and Friday Night Rivals for many, many years now. Very briefly, why? What inspires y'all to want to frequently give back and invest in the youth?
Well, it's because all these athletes, the football players, the coaches, the cheerleaders, they're working really hard. And so we want people to be able to see them. We want to be able to see the results of their hard work. It's just a way for us to give back to the community.
Okay. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for taking the time to speak with us here today. And of course, we look forward to y'all's remarkable event on October the 5th that night. And we cannot thank you enough, Friday Night Rivals, from the bottom of our hearts, for y'all's long-standing and proud and robust support. We couldn't do this without y'all.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Friday Night Rivals Scholar Athlete, brought to you by Arby's.
Reese Redden.
Here we go. Welcome back to the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show here on Friday Night Rivals. Joining us is the Arby Scholar Athlete winner from West Henderson High School, Mr. Carson Wood. Carson, good to have you on the show, sir. I'm sorry, Carson Hood. I said that, I mispronounced it. Excuse me.
It's all right.
Of course. Congratulations on the win, too, buddy.
Thank you.
Now, Carson, from what I understand, you are a tennis superstar. Is that right?
I try.
Yeah. Well, now, do you try or do you do, especially when you play it for multiple years?
Oh, I do.
All right. Share with us some insight into your accomplishments in tennis.
I played at conference my freshman year, and then my team sent 2 players to state, and we were undefeated last year at conference.
That's most impressive, my man. Now let's turn our attention over to academics. From what I understand, you are an academic superstar. You're sitting on a bad boy 4.67 weighted GPA and a 4.0 unweighted GPA. That says nothing over the fact that you're a member of the National Honor Society, and you also take AP Scholar courses over at Blue Ridge Community College. Is that right?
Yes, I do.
It does raise the additional question then, what are some of your post-high school plans? But on the other hand, what are some of your other academic accomplishments?
I plan to go into veterinary medicine whenever I graduate.
Yeah.
I have a part-time job with Healthcare for Pets Hospital, and I shadow vets pretty much every day.
Okay. Now, what are some of your other academic accomplishments that you can share with us here tonight? What else do you do?
I'm a part of Key Club, and we do a lot of volunteer work there.
All right.
And then I'm also a part of Henderson County Youth Council, and we do a lot more volunteer work there.
That's terrific, man. Now, I understand you're also a member of the Science Olympiad Club. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, for those who are familiar, what exactly is the Science Olympiad team? Is that something every high school has? Yeah.
No, it's not. We go to events, and we plan for quizzes or build events. And
Okay.
we
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What else do you do?
well, we went to state last year, and I placed 3rd in my event, which was called Scrambler.
Okay. Well, Carson Wood, once again, you are a wonderful Arby Scholar Athlete winner for this week, and I'm honored to hand you this award. Congratulations, Mr. Hood.
Thank you.
All righty. Good luck next year in all your future endeavors as well.
Thank you.
Arby's, we have the meats. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey everybody, I'm Nelson Weston. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Friday Night Rivals. Joining us today is our long-standing good friend all the way from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Leva. Good to see you, my friend.
Your football friend.
It's football friend indeed. Now, Melissa, speaking of football, I want to transition from football to the classroom because you and I both know y'all have a famous program called Tools for Schools. And for those who are unfamiliar, how exactly does it operate on one hand, but on the other hand, more importantly, how do the good folks at home go about supporting it and getting involved today?
Oh, Nelson, it's really a wonderful program because it's geared toward the school and the needs that they have that sometimes, lots of times, teachers will actually end up buying out of their own pocket.
Indeed.
You have an Ingalls Advantage card and a list of schools who participate in the Ingalls Tools for School program. Link your card to one of those schools, and every time you shop, you're earning dollars. At the end of the year, the school can go and purchase what items they need.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing and well-rounded program.
Right.
Now, Ingalls, y'all have provided robust support to the community for so many years now. We're talking high school athletics, college athletics, and everything in between. It does beg the fundamental question, why? Why is this so critical for y'all?
Well, it's not just sports, but it's also educational programs. But we're the home team. Ingalls is your hometown grocery market. So you are also supporting our home teams. It's really important for us to be a part of that community. We love being part of that, and we're blessed to be able to do that. Lots of those students work at our stores or graduated from those schools. We see these people in church. We see these people at work. This is a really big deal for us. Might be a big company to look at us from the outside in, but we like being beacons in our own communities.
Y'all are beacons indeed. All outstanding work. Now, Melissa, very quickly, you and I both know no great game is complete without delicious, mouthwatering good food. What are some of the most popular items on y'all's menu?
Oh my goodness, you have to start off with a wonderful boar's head sub, just absolutely good with all the trimmings, great fried chicken, all the sides you could possibly want, a wonderful salad bar, a wing bar, olive bar. I mean, I don't know if I could decide. I just have to go get a big old wheelbarrow and take it all there, plus all the things you need like chips and drinks and paper plates. One-stop shopping place for all your tailgating.
All fantastic work indeed. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time here today.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Getting set for the start of the second half in the land of the Bearcats. Bearcats trailing the Falcons from West 35-0, and it's time to get the thoughts of the Hendersonville head coach. Coach Ward standing by with Nelson in just a moment. And Tom, while we await the thoughts of the Hendersonville head coach, your thoughts on the reflections from the first half?
Well, field position was definitely a key in this one, and able to take advantage of it was West Henderson. And, we talked about their drives of 26, 22, 12, and 35 plus the punt return.
Well, it seems as if we now have head coach Ward is standing by with Nelson. Here's the coach of the Bearcats.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Well, Coach, I know it was a difficult first half, but I'm curious to know, what was the message of the boys in the locker room just now?
Fight, do your job, and fight. That's it. Do your job, keep fighting. It's never over until it's over.
All right, Coach. Good luck to you and your boys in the second half. Thank you. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Well, a clear message from the head coach of the Hendersonville Bearcats. Wants to see that fight out of his team in the second half, coming out trailing 35-0. Let's take a look back at some of the images from the first half of action, Tom. And you're going to see a whole lot of a couple of key guys in this package. But first things first, tonight in which they honored number 10. Hendersonville playing on this night with a lot of passion in his memory. But the early returns going the direction of the Falcons. And again, you're going to see a couple of guys a whole bunch here.
Jude Lyda goes to Diego Castro, and then you got Cade Young throwing the back of the end zone. Truett Manuel, and up quickly 14-0.
Manuel, of course, one of the players we're referencing. Diego Castro, the other. Here was the long run. That was the bright spot in the first half on the ground for Hendersonville as Rudisil broke loose.
Yeah, the 3rd and 2, and goes 59 yards and provided a chance there. And Here comes the punt return, and it's got it at the sideline. Castro with 3 touchdowns in the first half and great blocking, and there's the acceleration. He'll take the distance 60 yards for a touchdown.
Second year in a row, a consequential special teams play. This one, the return by Diego Castro. And you add it all up, 35-0, the advantage the Falcons have, and they get the football
Yes,
here
they do.
to begin the second half. So Falcons with designs on trying to shorten the night, and Hendersonville looking for some type of response. It'll have to start defensively for the Bearcats as the third quarter is now underway from Hendersonville, North Carolina. Going to be picked up and gathered up at around the 19-yard line is the return man. There's a flag that comes in, and that may be for activity that was taking place off the ball. We'll see once they sort it out.
Tell you what, nice kick that time, and had to go chase it down, bounce around a little bit, give a chance for the team to get down there and handle it defensively there. Let's see what happens here in the penalty.
Well, right now, the officials conversing with one another, and now they're going to indicate that it is, in fact, a block in the back against West. And so West will start a little closer to the shadow of their own goal line here as this will back them up. Unusual field position for West, right? This is a West team that has been used to starting in Hendersonville territory and often right on the doorstep of the red zone.
Now, they had 8 possessions first half. 5 of them were on this side of the 50-yard line for them.
Ball sits just before the Falcons' 10-yard line.
Starting
First and 10, West
all
Henderson.
the way back at the 10-yard line. So the first play from scrimmage of this third period, and of course it's handled by Young, who was the quarterback to begin things here. Hendersonville came out of there with the football, but as you can see, that was well after the play was wrapped. It is a minimal gain for the Falcons and stays with West.
I'll tell you, pretty good job there. You had a good look at the defensive end, Rupert Larte, 6'3", 220, a senior, and he's opposite of C.J. Landrum. So nice job by that young man to get into the backfield, make a nice play on the first down here in the third quarter.
You haven't been with us, so we documented these storylines early, but a Falcons team coming off a great year in school history and trying to build upon that with so many of those key pieces returning, even if they've had to make the replacement with the quarterback tandem. On the Hendersonville side of things, a very young squad and trying to grow into their own, but that youth and the experience that they're still searching for, lacking growing into, showing up in the early stages of this 2023 season. That's one of the reasons you see what you see on the scoreboard. But there's the fight that Coach was calling for.
Yes, and that was a young man, O'Marion Barber, at 5'10", able to make that tackle inside there. And you know what? You look for little things, the positives, and 2 good plays to begin with. The kickoff was a good one. The penalty set them back now. If you can get out of here with a good start to the third quarter, if you can get off the field here on third down.
Rolling far side, and again, this toss by Young, and that's near the marker. The coverage being provided by Thompson over there, but driven out of bounds right at the marker. Let's see where they spot this, because, Tom, depending upon exactly where they set the football down, that's either going to be a 1st and 10 or a 4th and short. Let's see here. And it is going to be a 1st and 10. They're going to move the chain, say it's enough on the catch for
I'll tell you what,
first down.
That's a good job of Cade Young. Young was able to get it off just as Landrum coming backside, able to get him in the back, and then you get that ball up in the air. Those Castro and Manuel got a chance to catch it.
So it is a Hendersonville Family Dental and Mills River Family Dental first down. Well, now they are going to work things for a couple of yards. Second down and about 8 coming now.
Gain of 2, second down.
That's a big third down conversion. If you're, if you're Hendersonville and get out of that, to be a big deal.
It is. So when they had the 3rd and 11 that they converted, here comes the second down now play, and 8. And again, it's another look up top and laying out, trying to make the catch, but it is just out of the reach this time of Diego Castro. Big first half for Diego Castro, Tom.
Yeah, he was. He caught a couple of touchdown passes in the game. The first one 8 yards from Jude Lida. Came back and caught another one a little bit later on, 35 yards from Lida. And also you throw in a 60-yard punt return for a touchdown. That's a pretty good game, right? And pretty good half. He did that in a half. But the other part about that is another freshman cornerback, 2 of them we talked about. But you know what? They're getting tested here tonight. They're young guys, and they're going to learn from this. They'll get better.
Just making the point that he almost had another big chunk of yards right there. Instead, it is an incomplete pass, and then boy was this red and snuffed out quickly. And so you saw Truett Manuel there. The offensive impact turned aside by Hendersonville, and there's the stop the Bearcats were looking for at the beginning stages of this third quarter. So not only do they get the solid kickoff, they back them up. The penalty helps a little bit as well, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in a position where they now may have some decent field position. Those Bearcats who have the return man, Rudisil, standing only around his own 37 for the return. And here's the punt. Boy, it is a booming kick, and it's going to be allowed to continue to roll inside the 30, and the 28-yard line is where the field position will begin for Hendersonville. Quick stop to begin the third for the Bearcats, and it will be Hendersonville football on the other side of the break. Fans looking on as Hendersonville takes over offensively. Just when it appeared the Bearcats were going to have good field position, a booming kick by Manuel made the starting point of this drive the 28-yard line, only to see a penalty during the break back the Bearcats up even further. And just like that, the penalty following the solid kick. And Tom, Hendersonville still starting inside their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, you go back and take a look at how that developed. They converted on that third down and long, and would have had to punt it from the shadow of their own goal line. And bottom line was, made a first down, got a big kick penalty, and all of a sudden, here is Hendersonville backed up again.
Yeah, just like that. Pace standing about 7 yards shy of his when he's ready to receive this snap, goal line that is. And he's going to roll this way, does tuck this, and he is covered up there on the stop. Is Tyler Nash to snuff this play out. And second down coming. Boy, Nash, you begin to think about all the players whose name we've called over and over again tonight. Nash, of course, Manuel and Castro in the secondary. Osman got his name called early. Man has been everywhere tonight. It's been a solid defensive effort on all fronts for the Falcons.
Yeah, Nash is another one of those guys that's an all-conference performer from a year ago, just a junior, one of the defensive ends off that side.
Yeah, he's the one who had the 2 sacks last week, 2, as we told you early in the game, of the 4 the team secured as a unit a week ago. And this is intercepted, went right through the location of the receiver, and it is the latest of Truett Manuel's interception. And that combo, whether you're talking offense or defense, of Truett Manuel and Diego Castro just continue to fill up the stat sheet.
I tell you what, young man can do it all. We talked about it at the beginning of the game. What can he do, I guess, is the best way to put it. And man, look at that. That is a tremendous catch. I mean, and right there in the hands of the receiver to a certain extent as well. They took it away.
Yeah, it was right through Ace Smith. And looking to try to take advantage of it quickly is this West team. And a first play from scrimmage after the turnover going to be given to Dimsdale. Dimsdale finds a gap, and he's inside the 15 and down to the 13-yard line. And he's near first down yardage one more time. 7.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and it looks like we've got a player for Hendersonville who is down at around the 28-yard line. And we will break away while they tend to what appears to be a little bit of a cramping issue on this hot Friday night. Well, a Friday night in North Carolina, hot Friday night, moon shining its light down on what is a 35-0 Falcons lead over the Bearcats. And after a brief stoppage, C.J. Landrum was the player. They were dealing with a little bit of cramping issues with him. He comes off and play continues, and the Falcons take this right down to the doorstep of the goal line. The latest of the carries. You know, this is a team that reminding you on a play like this, Tom, that good work can be done on the ground as well. It's not just the aerial attack for the Falcons.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they want to be, I think, a little bit more balanced than they were last year. They want to be more 50-50, but they've got some skilled people out of the edge, and Dimsdale
Here's
can
the
carry the
ground
ball.
game again. Dimsdale into the end zone for the touchdown, and that takes it to 41-0. Let's see, with the extra point following the United touchdown, it would be a 42-0 advantage, and you know what that would mean. We've got a player down again, just on the far side. As they've got another player down they are tending to, as you get one more look at the touchdown run from Dimsdale.
You know, when you've got the ability to throw the football, and then you also have it with the three returning starters up inside as well, that's a kind of a deadly combination, and it's in evidence here tonight.
So with just under 7 minutes remaining in the third and a player down, we will break away one more time, come back, give you a status update on the other side.
Hey, ladies, I need you to line up facing to the center.
Did you get a number, Tom?
We'll do it. Yeah. 100%.
It's for attendance, so I need to see.
Tymere Barber working his way off, so the good news is he is doing so under his own power. So Tymere Barber, after spending some extended time down on the far side, here's what happened to him on the touchdown run by Dimsdale.
Yeah, got caught up in all the trash there in the middle of the field there, trying to make a play. And
Sandoval looking now to connect on his 6th extra point of the night. And in doing so, run the advantage to 42-0. And it is true. A 42-0 lead for West Henderson as they have taken complete command. We will break away, return to Hendersonville with more of this Henderson County rivalry after the break. Well, the running clock now in effect with the 42-0 advantage having been secured by the Falcons as they are set to kick off to Hendersonville here. Tom, it's just a night in which you kind of glance back a little bit at what 2022 was for this Falcons squad, and you can see the carryover. You know, you got a window into it last week, but boy, have they flexed their muscles offensively here tonight.
yeah, we talked about 2 years ago, 3-8, and then last year ran the table 12-1 and got into the third round of the playoffs before running into East Guilford, and it's carried over this year. They've got 15 seniors that start, and we talked about Lucas Cachillo, losing him, fantastic player, but right now anyway, they've been able to get off to a great start first two.
Well, and Paul Whitaker told us the defense made the difference between those teams of old and the teams he's had these last 2 years. And boy, you saw that again tonight. For all the exploits offensively that you can talk about from the combo of Diego Castro and Truett Manuel and the likes, it's been their defensive impact tonight as well.
Yeah, they have been all over the place. Man, particularly in the middle, has been a major factor in the game. They put pressure on both quarterbacks tonight, and not time to throw the football, and then the contact has come when you try to hand it off in the backfield, and when they stretch it out, and they're able to run it down with the team speed they've had. So put it together here tonight collectively.
Hendersonville taking over. Pace, who has been at the quarterback position for some time now, tries to dance out of some trouble, and this is nearly picked again. It is incomplete. Right there was Neil Robinson for the taking, and he just came up shy of snatching away the latest of the interceptions.
I'll tell you, Robinson at that left cornerback spot has been a pretty good player tonight. You get one more look at it there. We talk a lot about, of course, Diego Castro, the strong safety, free safety, Truett Manuel, and those kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit because of the outstanding ability of the other two guys we mentioned.
So second down coming. And boy, he's been such a force in the middle, has he not? Right in the heart of that defensive alignment for the Falcons, and some valuable minutes for pace at the quarterback position. Going to turn, give this off to Rudisil, and he is swallowed up by blue jerseys after a gain of about a yard. And it is second down that is coming now.
Now, 3 of the top 4 tacklers back from a year ago.
Number 20, Evan Mann.
And you saw Mann there at 109 a year ago. Guys that on this defense they've grown up immensely in the last couple of years, and reflective in what transpired last year.
Good to see Omarion Barber working his way back on, part of this personnel grouping. You remember a little bit earlier we saw him as well, now returning the 3-minute mark on this third down. And swallowed up and dropped as the sack is going to be secured. And that's Jude Lyda in there. He's done a little bit of everything else, quarterback position and whatnot, and he gives them something to smile about in that Falcons side of things. It has been that D tonight, and you know the Asheville smiles that have come from West as a result of what this defense has done. That's our Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry Smile Camp.
We talked about what they've been able to accomplish on defense, and you know what kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit is the ability to punt the football by manual tonight. But the drives have been very quick ones, all of them less than 2 minutes. In fact, 4 of them have been less than a minute.
You talk a lot about scoring opportunities and those type things, Tom, and for Hendersonville, it speaks to how good this West defense has been. Rarely have they allowed the Bearcats to work toward crossing that 50-yard line. And here's another punt that we'll see West take over at the 31. Time for tonight's check presentation. Let's check in with Nelson.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. As you just mentioned, I'm standing right down here with some of the gorgeous cheerleaders of Hendersonville High School. Ladies, on one hand, on behalf of Friday Night Rivals, thank y'all so much for allowing us to be here tonight. We do appreciate it. But on the other hand, we proudly present y'all a check for $500. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Well, a big thank you to the folks at Hendersonville High, the Bearcats personnel. So much information they have provided. You know, big shout out goes to John Fisher, who's worked hard to make everything possible for this game to go forward tonight. And all the great info that he also provided us, and he and his staff and all the crew here at Hendersonville, making it possible to bring Friday Night Rivals to you. Another first down secured. That's the latest of the Hendersonville family, Mills River family dental first downs secured tonight for the Falcons as we dip inside of a minute remaining in the third quarter. Again, running clock with the 42-0 lead in effect for the Falcons of West Henderson. And all Falcons tonight in their first impact moment of what they hope will be the pursuit of a county championship for a second straight year. Young gives to Dimsdale. Dimsdale, who's done most of the work in the second half on the ground. Flags come in. This one likely is going to be coming back as a host of flags come flying out of the pockets of our officials back at the 45-yard line. And that will most likely take the third quarter with it. The handling of this final flag of the period as they walk this off, and the final seconds do tick off the third quarter game clock. And as they tick away, a 42-0 lead will be in effect for the fourth period. Through 3 quarters, Falcons in command over the Bearcats in Hendersonville. Well, our Prestige Subaru drive of the game, that initial drive for the Falcons of West, that's the first moment of pay dirt for Diego Castro. It was the first of many tonight. Effective drives for the Falcons of West. Once again, our Prestige Subaru drive of the game. It has all added up to a 42-0 advantage. The work done by the Falcons along the way. We are set to begin the fourth and final period of action as the running clock is in effect for those of you just joining us, and it is now doing just that, running into the early stages of the fourth period. Again, 42-0 the lead. Falcons with the football. Still time, though, Tom, to work on some things in key in-game county rivalry experience, and this is going to add to the yardage totals tonight for Truett Manuel, who has got another first down with a burst of speed far side. A college-level talent on the baseball diamond, also showing his skills tonight on the football gridiron.
He can punt a little bit. He can return as well. And
he can punt more than a little bit. That booming kick he had just when it looked like Hendersonville may have something going tonight was one of the impressive moments of the night as well. But you're right. Headed to NC State. We talked about it on a baseball scholarship, but still some conversation about whether he could perhaps play both sports at the next level. Certainly capable of doing so, as you've seen tonight. And it's going to be Dimsdale. Big hole in the middle, right on top of that Asheville logo, right, that Hendersonville logo, as we work our way toward another movement of the chains as the West Henderson Falcons continue to march. And we showed you just a moment ago so many of our great sponsors tonight. The first down sponsor, Hendersonville Family, Mills River Family Dental, our first down sponsored by that group tonight as well. And, you know, you want to talk Mills River for just a moment. There's going to be a happy bunch headed back there when all is said and done in this one.
We talked with Paul Whitaker earlier this week, and he said, boy, last year when they won 34-20, that it was just a festive atmosphere on the field after the ball game.
Well, it looks like there's going to be a festive atmosphere once again. And what did he tell us? And we'll revisit this before all is said and done as they back the Falcons up on this holding penalty. He said, what's a win like in a rivalry game like this? What did he say? When we win, we dance.
Yes.
And they will do that in Mills River tonight, no doubt about it. 9 minutes and 45 seconds away from the eventual outcome of what has just been an impressive performance all the way around tonight. Here's a look at the activities of that most recent play, which resulted in the penalty.
I tell you, we saw Marion Barber again, and this young man has played hard, had a good night tonight along the line. We saw him a little bit on the offensive side as well. You see big number 64 there.
First down from the 35, and a first down would be at the 15-yard line. That's keeping it right in the middle of things to keep that clock rolling and those wheels churning. But, lost to some degree in the mix tonight, the job that's been done on the ground. Here's Zane McCraw now getting his name called. We've been impressed with the work of Dimsdale on the ground throughout the evening. So, you've made the point a couple of times, Tom, and it's a good one. He said, we found out we weren't 50-50 a year ago. Coachillo put together those monster numbers. They put together the tremendous year. He said, one thing we've noticed through week one, that we were 50-50. And he said, with this quarterback combination, and you see, so many getting good work tonight, this is a team that believes they can be balanced enough to keep you off balance as an opponent all night long.
Well, 179 on the ground last week, averaged 5.1 per carry, had 192 passes, 2 touchdowns, no interception, 13 after 24, 371 total, and 371 total, and 54 points. It's a pretty good start, and they've added that here tonight.
Little run to the near side, so third down coming. As, again, you see some of those new faces that are seeing action here. And, Tom, it's valuable experience.
Yes, it is.
You never know who's going to have to step up and fill a gap before the football season is done.
Yeah, last week 54-22 over North Conover. Tonight it's a big margin as well. But you do get young men that get experience on a Friday night. You got to play under the lights. And you mentioned McCraw last week, 7 for 57, a couple touchdowns in his debut last week.
Toss out to Castro this time. Castro with more running room off the screen. He's down inside the 10-yard line, and it's going to be out of bounds. And a 1st and goal scenario is in effect. It is another Hendersonville Family Mills River Family Dental first down. And most of tonight, it seems, has been played in red zone opportunities grabbed by this West squad. And here's the latest of the First Bank red zone chances.
Yeah, they just had great field position tonight. You know, they've had it with the 26 and the 22, 12, going down the line, 12, 36. And a lot of these drives have been short and quick ones.
This one given off to Zane McCraw. McCraw forward to about the 7-yard line. We dip inside 6.5 minutes remaining in a 42-0 affair. West Henderson moving ever closer to a 2-0 start to 2023. I think that the Falcons brought quite a crowd with them, Tom. You can still look over at that far side, some standing on the fence at the top of your screen. It was a full house in the visiting bleachers, and not many have departed wearing those bright blue colors on this night as they watch to see what McCraw can do with this carry as he's down to the 5-yard line, maybe just a little bit inside of it. As 3rd and goal is coming.
I just kind of winded it down here, and you know, West Henderson came in and did what they needed to do. Tough week for both teams in terms of the heat and the weather, and you know, just trying to get prepared to play game 2, and didn't push the game back. It went 7:30. We know some over in South Carolina pushed it back a little bit, but you know, got after it. And good night for Paul Whitaker. And
yeah,
he's
Paul
still
Whitaker.
Excited after 31 years, right?
and it's still locked in. He's got to be pleased with the effort of his young men tonight. Still spinning and lunging forward is Zane McCraw. You know, he's got a 1,000-yard rusher back. You talked about it. You've got the bell cows in many ways. You know, you almost have to take your pick between the likes of Truett Manuel, who does a little bit of everything, Diego Castro, who also, you know, plays both ways and is one of the great iron men on this West squad. And you take the balance that we've seen from them tonight, as well as the smothering defense with the likes of Mann and Nash, who also are contributors. This a complete unit. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with as they work their way through 3A Region 12 competition, and it's a little closer to the goal line on this effort, but not able to work across the plane, as that will turn it over to Hendersonville on downs. Back with the Bearcats on the other side of the break. Tonight's Fan of the Game is sponsored by Tonight's Fan of the Game is sponsored by Western Carolina University. Use your advantage at WCU. A high-quality education has never been more affordable. Thanks to the NC Promise tuition plan, as a North Carolina resident, you'll pay just $500 in tuition per semester for a degree that prepares you for a thriving future. That's Western Carolina University.
Senior Casey Glenn, Alyssa Osteen, Madison, captain.
Hendersonville taking over after the stand on the goal line defensively. You know, if you want something as a takeaway for Hendersonville tonight, Tom, this is the latest of the stands deep in their own territory. You know, the defense has had to play so often tonight in the shadow of their own end zone. And on more than one occasion, yes, you look up at the scoreboard and it's 42-0, but this Hendersonville defense has had some memorable stops along the way, and this is the latest of them as they're able to turn the Falcons aside.
Yeah, there was a 4th down play there, able to keep them out of the end zone, and there were 2 other possessions in the first half that they were able to turn them over on downs as well. So there have been a couple of moments in the ballgame
that the defense can build on, but this again, you know, when you look at this one and try to summarize what we've seen and what the story of this 2023 season, at least to this point, is going to be a young Hendersonville team that has to just grow up and get the in-game experience that's going to be necessary to make the progress that certainly Coach Ward and his staff are going to expect and hope for. 7
senior starters this year, and as many as 5 freshmen could start at some point this year, 4 for sure. And you've got to just be able to play to get that kind of experience, and you're going to get to an experienced West Henderson team that we've talked about.
Here's a look up top, and it is just short of the grasp of Todd Lattimore, who was the intended target, and it is incomplete. Boy, Lattimore almost able to make an adjustment there. Saw the arm strength, did you not? Nice arm strength from Bell Pace was on display there as a sophomore quarterback turned it loose, but just couldn't quite make the connection. I go to your point. It's not just that this is an inexperienced squad. It's that tonight they ran across a very experienced squad. And when you're good at positions like secondary and you can stretch the field as much as this wide receiver unit can for the Falcons, it can create separation quickly.
Yeah, you start 8 seniors on defense, and, you know, you have an inexperienced situation at the quarterback spot. You've got a really good running back that's going to be – it was really good last year and will be this year as well, and some experience on the offensive line. Just ran into a really good West Henderson team here tonight.
And stopping for just a moment, Lattimore is going to get in there, and that will end up slamming the quarterback to the turf, and it's going to be 4th down and 9 as we cross over 2 minutes ahead of this 4th down play, as the Falcons somewhat fittingly defensively looking to put the finishing touches on what has been an impressive road trip to Hendersonville tonight. Very short road trip for the Henderson County rivalry. And for the 2nd straight year, Apple Festival conversation is going to surround this Falcons program that seems to still be clicking on all cylinders.
Well, in West Henderson, we talked with Coach this week, and thinks it's going to be a challenge per usual in their conference play this year. And oops, ball bumbled around there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble in the end zone, and it is going to be a safety that will add 2 more on the board as it goes to 44-0 now. The West Henderson Falcons, one final tally perhaps to put the exclamation point on what's just been an impressive night.
Yeah, just couldn't handle that snap and bounded around a little bit. And good pressure we have seen all night long out of this West Henderson team. And, you know, they'll be challenging for another conference champion.
Well,
this year.
A reminder, we are headed to North Buncombe next week. Madison and North Buncombe, that one scheduled for a 7 o'clock start time. You won't want to miss Friday Night Rivals, the next edition coming at you from North Buncombe, and some storylines already developing in that one, Tom.
Yeah, North Buncombe picked up a win, broke an 18-game losing streak last week against East Henderson, played well, 47-36, so looking forward to heading up that way.
Be off to a 2-0 start for all we know. Worth keeping an eye on what else transpires. No doubt a little later tonight around Western North Carolina and beyond, but it's been certainly our pleasure to have you with us on Friday Night Rivals, and we look forward to also seeing you return next week for the Madison-North Buncombe matchup. 42 seconds on the clock as it is stopped for this kickoff, and then we'll obviously run continuously following that kickoff and things going back to action, and it's looking as if, trending as if 44-0 is going to be perhaps the final here, as West is just really in all facets of the game flexed its muscles tonight.
Well, it's got to be a good win for West Henderson. The last 2 times they have been here at Hendersonville, it's been tough, 35-7 and 58-0. So they were able to get that win last year, 34-20. Got off to a quick start. We talked about how that transpired in terms of getting a stop defensively early on last year, and then with the manual punt return game, the lead in that game, and they eventually won it by 14-point margin and came out at great field position, got an early lead, and having extended it here in the second half to the point where it was running clock, and going to get out of here with a good win.
And this is going to be caught at just inside the 30-yard line and taking a knee as clock rolls on toward a half-minute remaining. As West now will determine whether to even send the offense out onto the field. They gather up in front of the fans on the far side to celebrate. The Falcons in command in many ways from the opening moments tonight, and they have put the finishing touches on a 44-0 victory. The final seconds of a game decided pretty quickly by a powerful group of playmakers who will be a force to be reckoned with in Western North Carolina this season. It's now a final 44-0, the West Henderson Falcons victory over the Hendersonville Bearcats. They take this rivalry game for the second year in a row and take the first step toward the county championship, Tom. It goes county championship, conference championship, and you know what the aspirations are beyond that. This is the first step in that direction.
Got to be excited about that. They were that last year. Hendersonville has been so good over the course of the years that they've kind of controlled that to a certain extent, and West Henderson now off to a really good start after a couple of wins early on.
Familiar faces meet at midfield. We will break away. When we come back, we will have the Bojangles Friday Night Rivals trophy presentation to the West Henderson Falcons, commanding winners tonight.
I hope you would like to wish all fans a safe trip home this weekend. And we appreciate your patience. Thank you.
Falcons of West taking a moment post-game to give thanks. This is a team very grateful for the way things transpired tonight. Everything according to script. 44-0 is the final. This is a team that will head home to open the home slate against Polk next week, and they'll do so an unbeaten 2-0 start to 23.
Yeah, they're off to a great start and a lot of enthusiasm, I think, particularly coming off what transpired last year, given the number of returning starters that they do have, and put 54 on the board against North Conover, 54-22, and then 44-0 here tonight. And we forget, Jason, that they were three and a punt on their first possession, but Manuel's punt was a big one that kept them deep in their own territory, and eventually came up with a short field and able to score the first touchdown.
6-0 in the conference a year ago, 12-1 overall, fourth round of the playoffs. The only loss, 3A Region 12. They will be a force to be reckoned with once again. Hendersonville, well, what does Coach tell us? He said, we're inexperienced, we're young, but you don't make excuses. He wants to see that fight. He said, you control the things you can control. Certainly going to be the blueprint. And he's at a place where success has been the story and will no doubt return to be the story again. He said, we know the expectations. If something is not broke, don't fix it. He said his other folks' mantra. He said, if it's not broke, don't break it. We want to keep things rolling the way they have been. He's done that as a player. He'll do that as a coach again. But he's got a young team. It'll take some time for them to get their sea legs this year.
Yeah, they're young and only start 7 seniors, and a number of freshmen do start. And that's so difficult going against some older kids. And, the history here has been one of success. And I think they got the right man there, and they'll hopefully have an opportunity. Well, they have the opportunity. Hopefully, they need to turn it around here throughout the course of the year.
Family atmosphere, that family being challenged, no doubt, in these moments to come together. And again, he'll look for that fight out of his Hendersonville team down the stretch in 2023. But it is West Henderson's night. The Falcons, as we said a number of times, flying high to the tune of a 44-0 win. And we turn our attention to the Bojangles trophy presentation as the Friday Night Rivals contest goes to West.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Well, Coach, first thing is first, congratulations on a magnificent win here this evening. Both sides of the ball made some great contributions to this tremendous victory here tonight. How you feeling right now?
Excited. It's good to come to, their place and beat them on TV and the cross-county rival that it is. And, we had a total team effort, special teams, offense and defense. We excelled in all.
And as you guys are going up 2-0 based on tonight's victory, what can we expect for the rest of the season, Coach? What kind of sky-high expectations do you have?
I hope the same thing. All right, just get better next week.
Remarkable. I love it. Well, Coach, I think this belongs to you, so congratulations, Coach, and congratulations, team! Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Then in Mills River, when we win, we dance. They are dancing here in Hendersonville tonight. We'll carry that energy and excitement home as a 44-0 victory for West. Second straight year they win this. And again, Apple Festival bragging rights going to the Falcons this time around. What a night in Hendersonville. We thank you for joining us on Bojangles Friday Night Rivals. It was an emotional evening. It began with a tribute and memories that will stand for all time. And once the football started, it was the Falcons of West building a 40-plus point advantage, capping it off with a late safety for a 44-0 win. For Tom Van Hoy, our entire crew in the truck, such a pleasure to have you with us. Jason Patterson saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. North Buncombe as Friday Night Rivals 23 season rolls on.
Work so hard just to make this show under the lights.